Welcome to Fun to be Fit Over 50, real health and wellness that fits your real life. My name is Carol Denman, and this is where knowledge meets action. You already know what to do. Now let's talk about actually doing it. Hey everyone, welcome back to Fun to be Fit Over 50. Today I have a very special episode for you. This isn't just a guest interview. This is a conversation with someone I have known since we were kids. I'm sitting down with my dear friend, Deborah Bragg. And let me tell you, the girl I knew back in high school was quiet, shy, and didn't want to be the center of attention. But look at her now. The woman you're about to meet is an entirely different force of nature. I asked Deborah to give me 5 words to describe herself today. And here's what she said. Compassionate, joyful, helpful, outdoorsy, and my personal favorite, doer. She said, once I decide I'm going to do something, I do it. And I couldn't agree more. Because Deborah isn't just a yogi, a hiker, a baker, a gardener, a crafter, and a dog trainer. She's living proof that life after 50 is just getting started. In this episode, we talk about how movement has kept her going through the unthinkable, including the heartbreaking loss of her oldest son. You'll hear how yoga and breathwork became her anchor, and how she uses fitness not to look a certain way, but to function, to get off the ground, to travel, to keep up with her dogs, and to fully enjoy her retirement. We also dive into her incredible journey training service dogs for Diabetic Alert, and why she's currently learning aerial yoga in her 50s. So get cozy, watch the photos of this incredible woman in her element, and listen up, because if you want to know what Fun to be Fit Over 50 really looks like, just look at Deborah Bragg. Let's jump in. All right, so you and I go way back to high school. Can you give our audience a bit of an idea about who you were back then compared to who you are now?
In high school, I was very shy, avoided confrontation. I didn't want to be the center of attention. I was also very critical of myself and nitpicked everything. I hated everything about myself. I didn't even really express my opinion to people about things. But now, the person I am today, um, I am definitely way more confident. I am shy in certain situations. I'll hold back until I know the people better. But now if I'm passionate about something, I'm talking your ear off. I've been learning not to be so critical and just like, hey, no, this is just the way I look, and it's not, nobody cares. That's not what matters. What matters is what's inside.
Yeah.
So,
No, I mean, it's true. It really is a skill to learn to not be so critical of ourselves. It really is. So,
I'm critical of everything, but it comes out of problem solving.
yeah.
Like, I want to fix this. I want to fix that. And I have to understand that it's not my job to fix everything.
Yes. That's a whole problem.
Not everything needs to be fixed. So I'm getting much better at that.
So you've been working out since 1997, you told me.
Yep.
That's nearly 30 years.
Yep.
What has kept you moving through the ups and downs of all these years?
In the beginning, I made it an appointment on my calendar because if I could just go whenever I felt like it, I knew I wasn't going to do it.
Yeah.
So I had it on my calendar for a while, and honestly, I just recognized the benefits immediately. I loved that it improved my sleep and my mood, mobility. I built so much strength that I did not have before. I was a skinny little thing with no muscle mass at all, and so I put on like 10 pounds of muscle. But I just honestly didn't want to stop once I started. Over the years, I've tried a lot of new things, and there's definitely things I didn't like or didn't resonate with me or my body didn't like. And so I think it's important to find things that you enjoy doing, because you're not going to continue doing it if you don't enjoy it in some way. But I've been able to I was blessed to be able, to work out through both my pregnancies, up until my delivery date. And honestly, I felt like um, that I healed so much faster. I had to have two C-sections, and so I wasn't allowed to work out. But as soon as I went back, and my my doctors, when I went back for a postpartum check, they're all like, okay, if I hadn't have done this surgery myself, I wouldn't have known that it had only been 2.5 weeks. Like, you are healing so incredibly quick. Now we know, like, when we move, that increases blood flow to your whole body. So, of course, it's going to be better for you.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. There's just so many benefits. I don't ever plan on stopping.
Hmm.
I don't exercise to look a certain way or be a certain size. I do it because I want my body to continue functioning so I can do all the things I want to be able to do.
Okay.
That's fine. No,
Okay. So you lost your oldest son in 2024. And that, I can't even imagine that, right? Of course. But you did mention that yoga has been a real anchor for you. Let's talk a little bit about that.
so I've been when the accident happened, I've already been practicing yoga for 12 years. And so it yoga teaches you to stay focused and in the moment, not dwell on the past, to accept the things about yourself, that are, but also how to control my breathing. So centering and grounding myself, being connected, and then being able to do breath work to control how I'm feeling in a moment. So if I could tell if I'm spiraling about something negative, if the yoga is all about don't focus on, you know, negative thoughts. And so you acknowledge them. So you visualize them. You're sitting on the side of a river, and you got all these thoughts flying through your head, and some are traumatic, and you just kind of acknowledge it and let it float on. And so it's able through yoga, I've been able to change my mindset and stay more focused and positive. And then on the days where I am having a hard time, I use my breathing to get better control of my emotions and not dwell on the negative. So, like box breathing, for example, where you breathe in for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4, hold for 4. And you do that in multiple repetitions. It also really helps with sleep too. So I would do, just to kind of wind down, like right before I hit the pillow, I will breathe uh, in for a count of 4 and out for a count of 6. So having your exhales be longer than your inhale signals for your body to kind of slow down and relax and calm. So through this whole ordeal, like, I was still trying to do a little bit of yoga every day, even though, my son was in the hospital on life support, because it helped me cope and deal with the day. So before I went to the hospital, I would just do 10 to 15 minutes of light stretching, because I was sitting a lot in the hospital too. So my body was complaining and was in pain because I was sitting so much.
Mhm.
So it helped my body, but also my mind as well.
Yeah.
To make sense.
Yeah, that's great. You shared something so powerful with me about your son when he was in hospital and life support, and how you told your son that he did not have to hold on just for you, that he was free, you know. Um, what gave you the strength to do that?
Um, Initially, it was, I just couldn't stand seeing him in that condition, in pain. At that point, he knew he had a very extensive a traumatic brain injury, despite wearing a helmet and everything he was supposed to wear. And they didn't even know if he was ever going to wake up. If he did continue, he could be in a persistent vegetative state. And honestly, I didn't want that for myself. So I definitely didn't want that for him. And I knew he wouldn't want that. He was a very active person, DIY, did everything for himself. He enjoyed learning how to do something. He didn't even like someone showing him how to do it. He would just jump in and do it. So, I would occasions when I would had to leave in the hospital, I would tell him every time before I go, I'm like, I would understand if you have to leave. Like, if if you don't want to stay here like this, and I would take care of you, but I don't stay here for me just to make me happy and not sad. And but it was also at that point, I've always believed in an afterlife. I've always believed that, we're made of energy, and energy doesn't just disappear. It just changes form and goes somewhere else. So I knew he would be okay, just he wouldn't be here physically. So I mean, it's still hard that he's not here physically. All the things that I didn't get to see him do, get married and have a family. And but he knew he was loved, and I know he loved me too. So
Yeah.
so anyway, yeah, that's what gave me the strength to be able to say that, because of our love for each other.
Mm. So, and you went to a medium after he passed, and during that session, you received a message from your son. What was that message?
Um, well, there was lots of validations. Like, I knew without a doubt I was talking to my son. But the message that he confirmed for me that gave me the most healing was that he, his leaving was his choice. He could have stayed. But he knew I would drop everything in my life, everything that I was doing would have changed, because he would have required, if he would have required round the clock care. And he did not want that for me. He said, I love you too much for that. You need to go. You got your own life to live. You know, I lived my life, and now my life on earth is done. So I am still with you and experiencing these things with you and through you. So don't give up. So it gives me strength to do. There's even things like I wasn't as interested in doing, but I knew he wanted to do it. And so I find myself going in and doing things like that he wanted to do, just so like I'm giving him that experience, but it's through me.
Oh, I love that.
So,
Like what?
um, so like I don't really care for like I used to go camping, but I don't like anymore. Like, I'm old lady. I don't like sleeping on the ground, and but we're gonna go try to go Jeep camping, and so we bought supplies to go Jeep camping, and so we'll sleep in a tent for a couple days. But he would go backpacking by himself, which, as a mother, and he had a health issue that he had type 1 diabetes. So I really didn't like him traveling by himself. And he would just go, him and his dog, and go backpack hiking and camping, like in the winter.
It's for adventure.
Yes. I'm like, why? Like, why wouldn't you? I mean, sometimes he went with friends, but if no one could go, he would just go. He's like, because he wanted to go.
Yeah.
So I admire that about him.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he did the same thing with a trip to Japan. Like, he went by himself. I would never go to a foreign country by myself. I'm still scared about going to a foreign country. I have never been out of the country.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm going to make it a point to go, because I know he's there. Mom, come on, don't be stupid. Go.
Yeah.
Go see things.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if I like it, I might want to do it again.
Yeah.
Well, and if I don't, then I could say that I did it.
Yeah, exactly. So last summer, your niece introduced you to aerial yoga.
Yes. Yeah, she started working at a studio really close to my house, and she was going to classes and then ended up getting certified. And so when she said she was going to teach, I just said, my niece, I'm really close with her. I said, I'm there. Honestly, ever since I saw Pink perform that Grammy performance of Glitter in the Air, like I was just so in awe of that. And that she could sing and do that.
She trained specifically for that.
Yes, yes. Oh yeah. She has people stand on her stomach.
Yes, yeah.
I love that. But so yeah, so I was like, yeah, I'll try it. And so I went to the intro classes that she has, and it gets you used to trusting the fabric and trusting yourself. I was already doing yoga, so the strength portion wasn't too hard. But honestly, like I did struggle with the choreography. Like I had done numerous different aerobics and what classes and stuff like that, and did fine. But for whatever reason, like with your body moving through the air, I don't know why my brain struggled with it. So, but now, like, I go once a week, but now she convinced me to add a hammock to my house. So my youngest son moved out, and my was turning his room into like a yoga retreat. And she's like, "Oh, you totally got to add a hammock." I'm like, really? She's like, "Yeah, why not?" And I'm like, "Well, actually, yeah, getting more practice than once a week, I think I can, uh, being older, arthritis in my hands, working on my grip strength, because honestly, that's one thing that exercise really helps with. Like sitting still, if you feel sore, you're going to feel more sore when you're still and at rest. So you may your instinct made to be rested, and rest is good, but you shouldn't not do anything, because that will totally make it worse. So I put in a hammock at home, and my grip strength has totally improved because I'm practicing, almost every day. I'm practicing. I like to be able to practice these moves at home too. It just really solidifies it because the class is only an hour. So you, in the beginning, you're stretching out and getting warmed up, getting your body ready to do the poses. And then, the last half hour of the class is for doing the poses. And so I really like that I can do it at home and continue building up strength and uh, increasing my confidence. Because in the beginning, like the poses might not look pretty getting in and out of them because you're just trying to, like, wait, which direction am I supposed to go? And it's supposed to go this way. I'm like, okay, it's squeezing my leg. And
while you're sitting.
yes, yes. So, I don't know, but after you go and you start seeing yourself get better every time, and she loves taking pictures of people and their progress, like only if you want, like she's not in there taking pictures of everybody, but she, if you want a picture in a certain pose, she's like, "Oh yeah, I got you," and she'll stop and take pictures for you so you could share with your friends. But it's so much fun, and as we get older, it's so important to learn new things. Like it just I don't know the science behind it because I'm not in the medical field, but I've watched enough things to where they'll tell you what you should always continue learning new things in your life, because that's what will keep your brain young and pliant and supple, and be able to still function.
Yeah, that's like that. I mean, I watched your post over the years because we haven't seen each other since we were probably 16. I know
Younger than I was gonna say, no, I was younger than that, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, you had a job at the movie theater.
Oh, so maybe I did see you then.
So,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
So it was like 16, I think, was pretty much the end of our of the last time. So that's where I just turned 56.
Yeah, so I'm gonna be 56 in September.
So it's been 40 years.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that like now seeing you on social media, like I've seen with your dog training, which is fascinating. It's just so fascinating. I don't even know if I've got a question here now. You do, but
You do.
about dog training.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so I've seen you with the dog training. I saw you now, and then with the aerial yoga, and then you did that aerial yoga and where you put on there about like this is the BS or something like that.
No, there are a lot of BS things that I did believe myself. I just thought, just based on the people in my life, I felt it it was a given, I guess, that all these things were going to happen. And then I started learning, like, as you get older, you don't just lose muscle because you're getting older. You lose muscle because you're not using your body.
Yeah.
Now, while I'm also finding now it can be harder for women to build muscle, when they're older, but there's definitely things you can do, increasing the protein and stuff, to help you maintain the muscle that you have.
All right. So, okay, now let's talk about your oldest son and your husband. Both have type 1 diabetes.
Yes.
Your oldest son was actually the one who inspired you to become a dog trainer.
Yes.
Can you explain to alert for when blood sugar is off, right?
Yes. Yes. So
Can you share something?
they're both type 1 diabetic, meaning it wasn't lifestyle or eating the reason why they developed it. It's an autoimmune disease. So they both developed it after having a illness of some sort where the body kind of goes into overdrive and starts killing other things. And in their cases, the isolate cells in their pancreas. So you need those isolate cells to they so you could produce insulin. Insulin is the hormone that allows you to use carbohydrates. So they both got diagnosed young. So Logan had been a diabetic since second grade, in the second grade. We actually diagnosed him at Disneyland, of all places, because we were eating a bunch of crap. And, we knew the signs and symptoms. And so, my husband saw he is peeing away too much, like and drinking too much. And so he checked his blood sugar and he was over 500. And I'm like, well, he just had a churro and a Coke. Like maybe everyone's like that. And like, I don't know how long it takes for insulin to work in system. He's like, I don't think it's that long. And so when we got back, they checked it and he's type 1 diabetic, but we don't understand how you caught it because he's really not. They have a test called an A1C test, and they can tell it's sugar sticks to the blood cells, I believe. And if that's wrong, it's something like that. So they could tell how much sugar is in your system over like a period of time. So like a 3-month period of time. So they're like, his A1C really wasn't even high enough for you guys to catch this. So we really want to know how you caught this. Because he never needed to be hospitalized. A lot of people, when they get diagnosed, they have to be hospitalized because it's life or death. And with him, it was just like, oh, your blood sugar's high. Anyway. So, from second grade, he was a diabetic. Within 6 months, he was wearing an insulin pump. And, we worked very closely with the nurse at school on things. And then Logan had saw that they had service dogs that were trained to alert to blood sugars. And he's like, oh, I want that. Like, and I want, well, let me look into it. And it's really expensive. I mean, back then, this was like in 2015, it was $10,000 to $20,000 to get a dog trained. And since diabetes is a disease that, they still haven't cured yet, they're getting closer, but I'll believe it when I see it. Don't know if it'll happen in our lifetime. Because if a dog can only work 10 years, I figured it'd just be better if I learned to do it myself. Like I've always been a dog lover, an animal lover in general, and I've trained dogs to do things. My dogs weren't horrible, so I'm like, well, I could probably do it. And so I did a lot of research, picking the type of dog and what to look for and temperament, and dogs that were want a dog that's very scent driven, likes investigating new scents. And so with the help of books and the internet and then I did have a trainer that helped as well. I learned to do it myself. And so took about 18 months to get to a point where he could go to school with Logan. And by that time, Logan was in high school. But after the dogs have been doing it for a while, they can pick up trends of when your blood sugar is going high or low before technology picks it up.
Wow.
So at the time, my my son was wearing a continuous glucose monitor. And so that's a separate device from the pump. And so it would communicate with the pump, giving readings every 5 minutes. So basically, like if he was going to go low, it would like shut off insulin delivery. But the dog could pick it up 20 to 30 minutes before. So especially at high school, they were on block scheduling. So classes were like an hour and a half. Sometimes like if he had a test coming up, it was really, really helpful if he found out in the morning that he was high. So to treat for a low, you can come up within 15 minutes, but treating for a high, it takes hours for the insulin to take effect. And depending on how much you're moving, your body metabolizes it at different rates. So anyway, it was helpful for him where he could, get, he was trained to alert anything above 165. And so he was alerting early enough in some situations where Logan could get his blood sugar down before like he had to take a test, or something, because when your blood sugar is really high, like you can't concentrate, you can't function. It's not the same risk of blows where you gonna pass out and could go into a coma, but the high blood sugars, it just makes you really irritable and hard to concentrate, and definitely couldn't do a math test like that.
Right.
So the dog was really instrumental in getting his A1C down and just being able to handle life better, because he was learning about these changes before he knew they were actually happening.
So,
Yeah.
okay. So, how do you train a dog to do that? What are they smelling for?
So science doesn't actually know. They can't say this is what they're smelling. Dogs can smell on a level that we cannot fathom.
Yeah.
So like a good example is you get in an elevator and you could tell who's got the really strong perfume on.
Mm-hmm.
A dog can do that same thing, but in a football stadium. Like their sense of smell is that accurate. Like they can pinpoint, or if you're cooking a pot of spaghetti sauce, we smell, oh, mom's cooking spaghetti. But dogs can smell every ingredient independently from each other. And the part of the brain that they have that processes those smells, like it just catalogs them all separately. And so first we had to decide what alert behavior we wanted. And so we trained him the touch command, which basically they take their paw and put it on you. And I have a lab. So pretty much, oh, I put my paw on you and I get a treat. Yes, please. And so within 5 minutes, like they knew what touch meant.
Yeah.
And then I had to practice that in every situation, in every environment. They had to be able to touch our command when I asked them, no matter what was going on around them. And then once that was solid, then I started pairing that with the scent. So we started collecting scent samples from both my husband and my son. So anytime they had checked their blood sugar and they were out of range, we would keep those. We used dental gauze and their saliva, and we would freeze them until we needed them. And then when I got ready to chain those two together, the touch command with the scent, I'd ask him to smell, make sure you could see when they're smelling it because their nose is flaring. And then I would ask him to touch. So he would know that if you smell this, I want you to touch me. So honestly, there's like there's different protocols, but the protocol I was doing, I didn't even get to some of the steps because my dog was already alerting on his own. Like he put two and two together. There's a point in the process where you're supposed to take these scent samples and hide them on your person and have the dog find it. He was already going up to my son and my husband without prompting, like, oh, I smell this smell and it's on Dad, or it's coming from Logan. And so that happened at 2.5 weeks after I started. So it was amazing to me that it could happen that quick. Public access, that takes a bit longer. If you want to be able to take a dog with you into public, they have to be properly socialized for that and be able to handle any environment. So we did a lot of training with group classes, and in the beginning, before he started going to school with Logan, I took him everywhere with me. So I took him with me to the grocery store and my doctor's appointments, like it just getting him, refocused if he was distracted by something in the environment. But I mean, I got to the point where this dog was able, I mean, he was bomb-proof. We took him to Disneyland. He didn't care about the fireworks. He didn't care about all the crowds and the balloons. I mean, he rode on rides. Like he 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 was our original service dog, and he was just so. And he's still there. He's awesome. I took him to animal therapy yesterday. So Logan really, after he retired him, he really wanted him to become a therapy dog because labs love people, but it's really not conducive for a service dog to go and say hi to everybody. It distracts them from their job, and then if someone gets them really excited, then they're not acting like a service dog anymore.
Yeah.
So we didn't allow him to be pet when he was out working. So Logan was really adamant, like, nope, you need to get him certified and take him to animal therapy. And so now that's what Jax does, and he just loves it.
What do you mean, Anna?
Oh, so we volunteer for Positive Friendships. It's an organization that helps people with special needs. So in the beginning, it was started by a mom whose son had autism, and she found through trial and error that having the dog present, was helpful to her son doing the therapies he needed to do to just be able to function in life. But it's not just autism schools we're going to, or we go to Foundation for Blind Children. We go to several different adult daycare centers where people of varying degrees of, some of them, traumatic brain injury, some of them, Down syndrome, different developmental delays and stuff. And so we take the dogs. So it's not just to make them, yes, it is to bring them comfort and bring them joy, but it's also to help with some of their therapy. So like at the blind school, some of those getting these children at the blind school, it's not just that they're blind, they're very medically complex in a lot of cases. And so just getting them to reach out and touch, that's a lot for them. So getting them, the incentive, like, oh, we got this, we got a really large, soft yellow dog, and he feels really soft. Can you reach out your arm and touch him? Like, oh, open your fingers, and all of that. That's working towards their goal, to get them more mobile.
Of course, that makes sense. But because you can't see, that's a trust thing, isn't it?
Yeah, and some of them, so they all have different degrees, and like some of them are partially sighted, but there's all different degrees. Like I didn't even realize that I just figured if you're blind, you're completely blind, and that's not true. Like sometimes you can't see peripheral, sometimes you just see a pinhole, sometimes you just see dark and or light, not dark. And so I'm no expert by any means, but I've found out through going, like it's so complex. Like,
Yeah.
but the dogs really do help them. I like it, like when we go to a school and maybe there's a kid that's like had never been exposed to dogs, and so they're initially afraid, but then by the end of the school year, like they get excited and they run up and give the dog a hug. But I mean, it took all those little small steps in the process to get them there.
Yeah.
So I really enjoy taking the dogs to animal therapy. I take two of my dogs there. They do really well. So
So what if the dogs taught you about people and yourself?
Oh, dogs are really similar to people in that we all have different learning styles. And so there are so many different ways to train a dog to do something. And I've learned there is no right, 100% right way. Like you got to do what's best for that dog, or that person, and teach them in a way that they understand. It's all about communicating with each other, whether it's people or animals. And so I've learned to not be so rigid and like help. It's more problem solve and helping them to understand each other and what we're trying to accomplish.
Huh. That's great. So you had mentioned that you work out because you want to be able to get off the ground and you want to enjoy your retirement. What does that look like for you?
So I've always believed like exercise shouldn't be driven by a way you want it to look as much as how you want to be able to function in your life. Like it needs to be functional fitness. And so I feel there's lots of different things I was doing, walking, hiking, yoga. They all help me to continue doing the things I love, which working out happens or doing those activities. I do love them, but it helps with so many other things. Like I like to do gardening. I like to go travel and see new things and, you know, being on the ground with my dogs and eventually, hopefully, maybe one day grandkids. Like, I want to be able to do all those things. And I'm finding that I've seen people who are my age and can't get off the ground without holding on to a couch or a chair. And I can get off the ground without my hands, but I've been doing yoga for a long time. And so I just think it's so important, or important to me anyway, to keep moving my body so I can enjoy life. Like, I just don't feel like sitting in front of a TV all day is enjoying life.
Right.
So, and then like of course I mentioned before, when you sit still, like it physically hurts my body to sit still. I have a hard time going for long car rides because my body complains. And so I love the age that we're in with social media because there's so many different influencers on there where you can like learn things. Like I follow this lady who specializes in pelvic workshop and low back and all that kind of stuff. And I've learned all these little different stretches and exercises I can do, like, at a rest stop or whatever, where I I get back in, I'm like, oh my God, that feels so much better.
Yeah.
Just from moving. Movement is medicine for our bodies. I totally believe that.
Yeah. I do too. 100%. All right. So this is the last question. Okay. So you believe in living your best life, and yoga helps you to be in touch with your knowing. You told me that. What does fun to be fit over 50 mean to you?
It means just because we get older, we don't have to give up doing the things we love. And honestly, there's so many things that I haven't experienced yet. And so I won't know unless I try. So I want to be able to be fit enough to go and try new things and find new joys, because I just feel life is about being joyful and spreading kindness. I feel like when you're joyful and you are more able to spread that joy to other people when you feel joy yourself. So, yeah, that's kind of like, this is a kind of a new chapter. We're done with child rearing, and it's like, what are we supposed to do? Now this is like where we get to kind of focus back on ourselves. But not just, I don't want to say just focusing on myself, because I feel like I enjoy so much giving a lot. So I volunteer a lot. So I like being able to give back to the community. Being healthy and fit enables that I could do those things.
It's so good too. I love that you give back and volunteer your time. I do too. And it is so fulfilling. It is so fulfilling. Yeah. But, you can't pour from an empty cup. Or,
Yes.
Just like the airline stewardess say about who drags oxygen mask on first. It truly is not selfish
No,
to focus on yourself.
no, it took a while for me to figure out self-care. Like,
Yeah.
you are capable of so much more when you take care of yourself. You have more to give.
Love it. Before we go, I want to share something important. This podcast is all about sharing real life experiences, insights, and inspiration. But it's not a substitute for professional medical advice. I'm your cheerleader and fellow traveler on this journey, not your doctor. Everyone's body is different. What works for me or my guest might not be right for you. So please always check with your healthcare provider before starting any new fitness routine, changing up your eating habits, or trying something new. You know your body best, and partnering with a good doctor is part of taking care of that beautiful body of yours. This show is for educational and informational purposes only. By listening, you agree that you're ultimately responsible for your own health decisions. Now go out there and have some fun being fit.